Listen. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
A new intro, and we are back. Welcome to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. I am Amit. That is KDot. KDot, how are you doing today, sir?
I am great. It's my time of the month, so I'm drinking cranberry juice.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I don't want to get into too many details because, I don't think it's anybody's business but my own. But if just so happen I'm deciding that I don't necessarily feel comfortable in the body that you usually, and the pronouns that have been used for me, I might have done a few things to change some stuff like that.
Maybe we'll get into that after the pod. Sounds good. But for you guys, hey, it's been 3 weeks. You're probably wondering where we were. We were in Europe fighting some fires in Spain and France and the UK. It's been wild, but we're just doing what we can. We're doing our part to make sure that while global warming is going on, we're taking care of what we need to take care of, making sure it's safer for the people in Europe. KDot, what was your experience like doing that?
Well, it was really, really good making sure that we were helping people as far as like save their homes and things like that. But I also wanted to make sure the entire time we were over there that I made sure that they all understood that as an American, we were superior to them and that soccer is just incorrect, and making sure that bitch slapped the shit out of anybody that said football when he was thought about that other sport.
Well, honestly, my main motivation for going was to be able to say football or like football. It was
that's why we weren't linking. That's the thing. Is it as crazy it is to have two guys that are on the same podcast go overseas? That's why we didn't really spend any time together. Because while you were doing that shit, I was bit slapping Europeans.
Right. And so while you were doing that, I was also asking questions about Brexit and stuff like that in the UK while fighting the fire with the firefighters. So we were never in the same place at the same time because we figured divvy up, District Divided. So that's what we did. Mm-hmm. And just trying to spread awareness. Hopefully we get a few more views on this video. But this is
I was trying to start Frexit. France needs to leave.
Jesus. We're not going to get into the France story anyway, but we are going to get into some sports, specifically Juan Soto. The Washington Nationals are absolutely botching this situation. We're going to get into that. We're then going to talk about Commanders training camp that begins Tuesday, July 26th. And we are going to each pick a player that we are looking out for. And we are going to talk about Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney is now the head coach of DC United. Why on earth did that happen? I'm going to give you my take, and I'm going to ask KDot if he's more likely to go to a soccer game now. And then we are going to conclude with the comment mailbag, and then we'll leave a little bit more after the pod. But we got to begin with Juan Soto, the generational talent himself, the 23-year-old who won a home run derby, but had to fly commercial to LA because the Nats, after he turned down a 15-year, $440 million deal, would refuse to charter a flight for him. Gets in at 1:30 a.m., gets his rest, and being the generational talent that he is, wins the home run derby. KDot, 15 years, $440 million would make him the highest paid player in baseball based on the total, $440 million. However, that would be 20th in AAV, average annual value. And for a guy like him, he deserves more, doesn't he?
Yes. So, yes, that's the thing is that this. Oh, but hold on. We need to clarify because I know that there's a lot of fans there online that are very, very much defending the Nationals' position and want to make sure it's known that they at least paid for the commercial flight. It was a first-class ticket, right? I hate how many people just go out of their way to support these fucking cheap billionaires. Look. This entire situation is just fucked up. It's just a fucked up situation. Like Juan Soto deserves to be one of, if not the highest paid baseball player in the league. The only guy that we can 100% say, all right, probably deserves more than anybody is probably Mike Trout. But but as far as looking at how young this guy is, looking at his stats and his age at 23, been in the league for 5 years, and then you look at what he does and where those numbers are comparable to anybody that's ever played baseball, they're all Hall of Famers other than Mike Trout at this point, right? So, we know where the trajectory is going unless something absolutely, completely out of left field happens, and it's like his career's over. So But then, so like, I know as a Nats fan myself, as a Washington sports fan myself, there is this sort of pain that we have where why can't the Stars finish their careers with us? So like there's some hurt there. So like there's especially the guys that are homegrown. So like seeing Bryce Harper walk away was hard. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It was hard as shit until we won the World Series and it was like, all right, bye, bitch. But then seeing Max Scherzer play for the Mets right now is hard for me. Seeing Ryan Kerrigan play in an Eagles uniform is extremely hard for me. LeVar Arrington playing for the Giants.
It was hard for Ryan Kerrigan too, just to be clear. It did not go very well in Philly.
Like, yeah, they should have gave him more playing time. I'm just saying. The the fact that we're looking at Juan Soto, when we were doing District Divided, we had all the guys on. We were talking about who the coolest athlete in
KDot,
DC
we're
sports
still doing District Divided.
When we had the other guys with us doing District Divided, it feels like a different show. The better now. The the idea that Juan Soto was the name that we were floating around as far as being probably the most popular, or at least the coolest athlete in DC. And the fact that we're looking at this and you hear biggest contract in MLB history, and no, he might not come back, is like, it hurts. And you're looking for anybody to blame. And there's blame to go around everywhere. If I'm Juan Soto, there's not a snowball chance that hell I'm signing that deal. It's not going to happen. He's on a contract for 2 more years. Because of arbitration, we have to pay him like $50 million the next 2 years, even if he stays here, regardless. So the 15-year, $440 million is more like 13 years, $300-some million. It's almost very similar to the Bryce Harper deal, right? Which the Bryce Harper deal that he actually did get when he went to Philly. When you're looking at it as far as the amount of money after the arbitration, because he's got 2 more years left on the fucking deal. He has 2 years left before everything would kick in.
But they're talking about trading him now.
Which I get, but that's the thing is like, it doesn't feel as though, and the thing is like, look, here's the way I'll put it. If something doesn't change in the status quo as far as ownership and what they're willing to spend, period, as far as our roster, he needs to go.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. And actually, Brendan Nichols, friend of the show and has been on the show before, made a really good point, which was that the contract was backloaded and the learners don't seem to believe that they are going to be the long-term owners. So they would just be passing the bill essentially to the new owners. So with that being the case, I don't understand why they can't make a legitimate offer to Juan Soto. I mean, we let go of Trey Turner and Max Scherzer in that trade to get Keibert Ruiz, Josiah Gray, whatever. And the message was, we're doing this to have the money to sign Juan Soto. You let a guy like Bryce Harper go. Anthony Rendon walks. I mean, you name it. We have let so many stars go. I feel like we had a solid foundation, especially with that World Series winning team. How could you not think so? Anthony Rendon was playing out of his mind. Juan Soto, amazing. Even in the wildcard game, he was the guy, right? Yep. He was the guy, 20 years old, that stepped up and made a play with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. So I don't understand the aversion to wanting to keep a generational talent like him. It makes me much, much more thankful for the Alex Ovechkin situation, where he is only ever really going to play for us. And
Ted Leonsis.
Yeah.
Look at what he just did with Brad Beal.
To keep his guys, Brad Beal, exactly. So is there any rescue here, or is it over?
They sell the team in the next 2 weeks. It's not going to work with the learners. Look, we had success in that run as far as in the years around the World Series. If you look at our payroll, we were in the top 15 to top 10. I think we cracked top 10. I don't know if we cracked top 5. We were definitely top 10 for a few of those years. Right now we're 20th. And I think if it's up to the learners, they'd much rather have us around that 20th mark than anything near the top 10. They're cheap assholes. And the thing is that, like, we are a major market team that conducts itself like a very small market team, or even the mid-market teams. And the thing with the mid-market teams is that, which you can't do if you're not willing to pay money, if you're not willing to go out there and pay, if you're not willing to be the Mets, if you're not willing to be the Red Sox, if you're not willing to be the Dodgers, you cannot field a team. Even with your star, it just doesn't work. So like, you can have your star, but baseball is such a team sport you have to have other pieces. Look at fucking Shohei Ohtani and fucking Mike Trout right now.
They have Anthony
huge
Rendon.
Contracts. Anthony Rendon, look, huge contracts as far as that, right? Those things. But if you're really looking into overall payroll, from what I remember, I don't think they're top 2, top 3, top 5 right now. And the thing is that because they don't want to get into anything luxury tax or anything else like that, they're going to be at this cap. And you're like, yeah, even if you have 1 or 2 really, really great pieces, unless you build a really good squad around it, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, that if I'm Juan Soto, I don't come back here knowing that this team, even if they pay me, they're not going to be willing to pay the other people.
Right. So
and that's the thing.
So if you're Juan, you're going, okay, I can get a deal that I like in multiple places. Right. And I can also be with a team that is serious about winning, that has other pieces around me, so that, yes, while there will be pressure on me, I'm not the one and only guy. Right. Whereas right now, it feels like I might be the one and only guy. Heck, there was even an interview in the locker room, I can't remember, and I think this was before the home run derby, where they were talking about Trey Turner. Is it nice to see Trey Turner again? And he said, yeah. And he's like, and I'd love to have him back in DC. So he's already talking about wanting to, like, have other talent, legitimate talent around him. No offense to these other guys, but they're just not at that level, right? I mean, they're not all stars. So
ownership has changed their entire. Look, I don't hate Mike Rizzo. I think Mike Rizzo is actually a fairly decent GM.
I think Nats fans generally agree. Mike Rizzo is a good general manager.
But it's you're asked somebody to go to the used car lot and get your car to be able to take you across the country, and you say you only got $200 to spend. How the fuck am I supposed to do that? I was supposed to get anything reliable enough to take us across the country. Juan Soto can do what he's doing, which is put up Hall of Fame looking numbers. We'll still be in last place because there's nobody else around him. So that's the thing, is like, even with the production you get for Juan Soto, unless you're willing to spend to go get the other guys, it's not going to work. The Mets are probably the best run team right now if you're looking at this year. Even with Scherzer and DeGrom out, they're still doing things because of the way they built that team. They spent a lot of money, but they also didn't deplete anything in the process of doing so. Like, there's a balance there, and we don't know. And Brennan's right. Me and Brendan have talked about this at length. And actually, shout out to Ref the District. I was saying that I thought the main reason was the learners are writing a contract that they know they don't have to pay the lion's share of because they won't be here. So at the end of the day, why not backload the fuck out of it? Because we don't want to pay anything, right? So, like, now that being said, there is a little bit of like, okay, there's a why now sort of factor, which makes me think that there might be even more to it from an ownership standpoint. And here's what I don't know. I don't know if they're in the rooms or they have the group that is trying to get it. If they're like, if some potential owners are saying, we don't want that contract. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think that it is, but Ref the District did respond to me and saying, well, hey, what about the aspect of right now out of nowhere, he's got 2 years left and we can talk about this for another year. The time's not pressing right now to get this done. But the reason everything is kind of moved up, the timeline, is probably because of the sale. Now, what impact is this having on the sale, and how is the sale impacting this?
Right.
Again, how's the sale impacting this?
Just before we move on, I got to just shout out the Nationals for being complete idiots it's, I think, pretty close to truth and common knowledge that they were the ones that leaked that the deal got turned down.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. That didn't have the effect that they were thinking it would, because when people got to see the details, they were like, wait, then no, Juan Soto should have rejected that. You disagree. Go ahead.
I really do think Nats fans have been there. I do think it might be 50-50. I think it might be 50-50. I really do. I really do.
Comment below on what you think of Juan Soto rejecting the 15-year, $440 million deal if you're a Nats fan. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think he should have taken it? Do you think he shouldn't have? Because this is not 50-50. I think most Nats fans agree that Juan Soto got lowballed.
I don't know. I haven't seen that. I've not seen that
money. It is astronomical money. I get it.
It's not.
But he deserves more. That's just
it's not. But here's the thing: it's not astronomical money when you take into account the 2 years of arbitration.
Is astronomical.
The 2 years of arbitration, not to mention it's a 15-year fucking deal. The $440 million in what it is as far as backloading. You tell me you're going to give me $40 million and look at inflation 15 years ago compared to what it is right now. What the fuck does that money even look like?
Oh, okay.
In 15
it's still
years.
a ton of money. It is still a ton of money.
But it's a ton of money. But from looking at compared to what Major League Baseball teams fucking make and what is the revenue is where the revenue is. How many of these assholes they're all billionaires.
Okay, I'm just saying that if you're going to say $440 million, also look at inflation. Like at a certain point, there is a certain amount of money that is inflation proof, if you will. Yes, it gets devalued, of course, but $440 million for one individual is a lot, but it's still not enough.
Is there not a team that you think out there is there a team out there that you don't think would be willing to offer him $500 million right now?
I'm agreeing with you.
Right,
I'm saying it's still an astronomical amount. Just generally speaking, $440 million is an astronomical amount of money generally, but he deserves more. That is my point.
Fine.
We're on the same page.
Fuck you. No,
don't twist my words. Don't twist my words. We're back. We fought some fires. We don't need to start one here.
Like I'm going to get one other thing that I will give Rep the District credit for, and I think this is the offer that needs to happen. I have heard that the Nats are going to offer him one more contract. They have one more deal that they're going to offer him, and then it's over.
We'll see how it goes.
10 years, $450.
Oh, he takes that.
You have to offer it.
You could even do 12, $450, and he might even take that.
10 years, $450, $45 a year, no backloading, make it equal, average it out the entire way. You add the $45 million to the current payroll that we have on the Nats. Do you know where that takes us? From 20th to like 12th? I think
Scherzer currently 3 years, 130 remaining.
Scherzer's a 40-something mil.
So he's 43. So that would, and that's the highest AAV in Major League Baseball right now. So that would put Juan at number one. Quick question, KDot, and we'll probably end up talking about this again on another episode, but how do you think this ends?
Soto's gone.
Okay. Do we get anything remotely close to fair value for him?
We don't know until 5 years from now.
Fair enough. All right, cool. Let's move on. Washington Commanders, they begin training camp Tuesday, July 26th. That is 2 weeks long. And then we jump into a preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. But again, first we got that 2 week period where veterans are going to be there. Rookies are going to be there. You got all those reports about Jahan Dotson being the second coming. And now he's going to go against some of the other guys. So it's going to be interesting to see. The question, KDot, is what one player, you can name a couple if you really want to, but what one player are you most interested in seeing at this training camp?
There's only one answer.
Go ahead.
Carson Wentz.
I got a different answer.
Well, then you're wrong. But there's
Here we go. This is why it's called District Divided.
It's the most important position in the league on any team. Quarterback, right? Unless your name's Aaron Donald. And still, yeah. So it's the most important position in on the team. We haven't had one that could actually play the position. How long?
5 years. Kirk Cousins.
But
I'm glad we got rid of him. That's a separate topic. But anyway, go ahead.
I miss Kirk. I'm checking. Somebody
we'll get Nelson Wolf on.
That throw with the Giants week 17. Dude,
Go ahead.
I was working at Geico. I did not watch that live.
Talk about training camp. Carson Wentz. Go ahead.
It's Carson Wentz. We got to make sure that he is firing all cylinders. And the thing that I say is as far as Carson Wentz, and this is why it's kind of a cheating answer. If Carson Wentz is playing at a high level, that also probably means I'm seeing some good Jahan Dotson action. I'm seeing some good Terry McLaurin action, which we're all happy that Terry's on the contract. He's going to be there. Like, that's the thing is, like, I look at Carson Wentz and, like, I circle Carson Wentz because I'm like, I need to see how this offense is going to work. And that's what I'm looking at training camp. Also, sidebar, the lottery system to go see training camp is fucking stupid as shit. You're trying to get more fans, fucking Washington Commanders, not siphon off or trying to dilute what the fuck. It's stupid.
Yeah, I don't think any team is necessarily well run here in DC except for the Caps. I don't even think that's a hot take.
I like the Wizards. I think the Wizards have actually done a pretty good job.
Okay. I think
looking at
the product on the
but the situation we were at 3 years ago with the John Wall contract, and he's hurt all the fucking time compared to where we are right now. I don't think any of us thought that the light was going to be this bright.
How bright is it? Anyway, that's a separate segment as well. But noted. Okay. So you say Carson Wentz. And I like the rationale behind it. My thing is, I think Wentz is going to be fine, even if he has a poor training camp. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get to know the playbook, stuff like that. So if he goes, hey, he didn't look as sharp as we would have hoped, I'm not that concerned. Maybe I'm crazy, not that concerned. I would be concerned if last year's first round pick, Jamin Davis, does not have a good camp, because now we really, really need him more than ever, right? Because we took him last year. We were hopeful that he could have an immediate impact, but people around the pick and other experts were saying, bit of a project. We don't know what's going to happen with Jamin Davis. Well, again, 6'4", 220, 230, 240, whatever it may be, the man is a freak physically, and we need him to play like one, because that is our weakest position group. Cole Holcomb is a stud. He may get that contract extension. We need him to, but that speaks to the level of desperation there, right? No, it does. What are you laughing at?
It speaks. You call Cole Holcomb a stud.
He's a stud.
It's desperation,
You look at
brother.
his numbers. Still,
I love Cole Holcomb.
no one else can tackle. No one else can tackle.
Okay, that's the benchmark. He is a stud. Come on, man.
You see, okay, you're making my point for me. I just hope you know that. Because
I don't disagree.
Jamin Davis.
The entire time you're talking, I'm like, this defense going to suck this year? Watch the offense carry us.
Jamin Davis needs to have a good training camp for me to be a bit more excited about the defense, because ultimately I trust the front four. I know it wasn't as good last year. Chase Young goes down with the injury and COVID and you name it. John Allen was fantastic the whole time through. But we desperately need another linebacker, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that it is Jamin Davis. We have gone through the linebacker picks for teams with Del Rio, with Rivera, with Mayhew. They're generally very good. We cannot afford a whiff on this one. What do you think of that?
I'm still getting over your fucking Cole Holmes stud bit.
Cole, I back you.
Here's what I'll give you. I think you're right. I'd change my answer from Carson Wentz to Jamin Davis. He has to work out. If he does not work out, it's going to be a long year on defense.
It's going to be such a long
I'm just saying, like, that linebacker position is so fucking depleted. Like, it's not – like, Cole Holcomb is, like, the best possible multiversal version of Will Compton.
I think Cole's good. I don't even know what his
I think Cole is solid. I think he's solid. I think he's solid.
Yeah.
I think he's a solid starter. And I think that is a huge thing for Cole Holcomb. A solid, like, I don't question him starting. But I'm not looking at him to be a game changer.
No.
He just isn't.
But we are asking him to be one. And to his credit, he has done that in games.
He has had moments. He has absolutely had moments.
Certainly.
But that's Jamin Davis has to be better. He has to be
help
better.
Everyone out if he plays well.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Because last year, here's the thing about training camp. This is my general feel. Everyone gets a good report. Like De'Ami Brown last year. Remember that? Everyone was like, oh my God.
It's usually wide receivers.
We did an episode on it. Right. Jahan Dotson this year. Everyone goes gaga over the wide receivers, but everyone goes gaga over everybody during training camp. Jamin Davis didn't have very good reports last year. That was worrying to me as a fan, where I'm like, everyone gets good reports. What's going on here? Yeah. So if he doesn't get good ones again, then we're talking about a bust here. And I know you're one. I never label anybody a bust after 1 year. Rookie year, you're transitioning to the big boy league, to the NFL. Could take some time. That's fine. But year 2, okay, you've been around it. You've had a full off season. Now what do you do? And we need Jamin Davis to respond to that.
I mean, I have my own philosophy on the bust label and how I hate it. Yeah, I think 90% of it's the team fault, not the fucking player. But for where it is, they drafted.
How about this? Well, then for better or worse, you'd be labeled a bust, whether it's his fault or not.
If the linebacker position does not work out this year, my sight is set completely on Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio. There's nobody else I'm looking to blame other than those two guys. You knew what we had, and you decided not to address it.
Okay.
That's what it is. At the end of the day, if they do not work out on defense, then heads got to roll. Because there's absolutely no reason that many first-round picks, that many high-round picks on that defense, especially on that defensive line, for them not to be wreaking havoc. No. No excuse.
Any last names that you want to throw out there before we move on to Wayne Rooney and DC United?
Antonio Gibson.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious to see how it is he looks or how it is they're utilizing him with what's his name, Alabama boy,
Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I was looking at the Madden ratings, and I don't think he didn't crack top 20.
Okay, so do you know Cole Holcomb's Madden rating?
No, because he wasn't high enough to. They're doing like top 20 lists. Come on, bro.
Come on, man. I'm looking this up. Cole Holcomb Madden. No, I bet it was good.
70 tops. I say 72 tops.
Dollar bet right now. There is no way he's a 72. Madden 22. Also, this is on Spotify, so just a heads up if you're listening to this, KDot and I are both Googling right now.
All right, on 70,
79. He got
79.
79.
No,
Yeah.
you said definitely got higher. Okay, fair enough.
Go ahead. No, because he's a stud. Cole Holcomb's a stud. Just let it go. How about that? Maybe
Davis is a 72, or was a 72.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Again, hopeful that he does something. One other name I wanted to throw out, Cole Turner, tight end, because he is a big boy. He can be a red zone threat immediately. I'm curious to see how the coaching staff addresses him, especially with Logan Thomas still sort of recovering, right? Because he could maybe have an early impact on the season as Logan recovers. So just one more name I want to throw out.
AGG.
Yeah, at tight end.
Yeah.
At tight end. He's a long shot to make the roster.
I like to see him get it done. I think it could work out. I really do.
Well, if he jumps
And
on
I
the
think
podcast, he might get it done. We'll see.
Hear that? Well, I mean, like you have to listen to hear that.
Yeah, well, just spam him with it. All right, let's move on to soccer, as KDot likes to call it. And honestly, I like to call it that too. Wayne Rooney, after DC United lost to the Philadelphia Union 7-0 on national TV on a Friday night, was not feeling well that day, decided to have some soup, some toast. I was like, you know what? Let me turn that game on. Disaster. Absolute disaster of a game. Wayne Rooney then became named head coach of DC United, and it surprised me. It surprised a ton of DC United fans, but there's a lot of excitement around it. It is a 2-year deal, and there is an option for a third, but honestly, you would think for getting a guy like Wayne Rooney that DC United would be sure to hold on to him for more time than that. We'll see what ends up happening there, but KDot, you know the name Wayne Rooney. I mean, he even played here for a couple of years. What are your general thoughts on the move? If you don't know enough about it, okay. Would you be more likely to go to a game knowing Wayne Rooney is the head coach of DC United?
No.
Okay.
I'll answer that question first. So but I always think, as I do with every MLS thing that happens, anytime there's one of those big names that come from Europe, it's, they're trying to get the casuals in. Which to me, it always feels that way. And then knowing, I tried to listen to a little, I took my girlfriend to Dulles before we recorded this. And on the drive back, I'm like, all right, now we're going to talk about Wayne Rooney. So I turned on some YouTube videos. I paid for premium, so it plays in the background while I got Waze up. And they were talking about it. And the general consensus I was getting was that people are thinking that how do you pronounce Derby? Derby is where
with
he
an R.
was. With Derby was where he was coaching before this. But apparently there was something fucked up with the way that everything was happening. And there was a
points deduction. Yeah.
And he requested new ownership. They really tried to convince him to stay. He left. My understanding is the first year that he was coaching there, he did a little bit better than expected, but it didn't set the world on fire.
Mm-hmm.
The idea would be, at least over there in the UK, the thought is that he's kind of running away to go get an easier job in the MLS, which also, listening to that and it was a bunch of Brits talking. They don't give a shit about the MLS. Holy crap, they shitting on the MLS.
No, of course not. Right.
So it's the idea of all right, he's got to build up his resume or maybe even work on it to a certain degree. And they named a couple guys that have done that in the MLS and they come back over to Premier League and they've had middling success. But at the end of the day, it feels as though it's a dual purpose. Get people talking about the MLS, which is always the goal. That's why you have Beckham and all these guys that are always in there.
Okay.
But then on top of that, mutually beneficial in the sense of Rooney needs to learn more. He doesn't have a reputation as a coach yet compared to his reputation as a player. And even his reputation as a player to some people is a little maybe overglorified.
If I'm putting the puzzle pieces together, so I'm a DC United season ticket holder, and so I follow the team not as closely as I should, but fairly closely. Here's what I'm thinking. This is certainly not Wayne Rooney's final destination. Let's begin there, right? He's a very new coach. He's young in the coaching game. Okay. And he has familiarity with this club. From Rooney's perspective, initially, I was like, what the fuck is he thinking? Like, it makes no sense to me that he's coming here.
Money good?
But now, oh, yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a moment. But not only is that money good, but this makes a lot of sense the more I thought about it, because DC United's in dead last place. There are zero expectations for Wayne Rooney to do anything. And if he doesn't, he can just point to that and be like, see, my roster was absolute trash. Plain and simple. There was nothing I could do. This was a completely unsalvageable situation. Bummer. Now, it's only 2 years, and there's also a rumor that a clause in the deal is that he can leave for free if a Premier League club offers him a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's true, and we're operating on the assumption if that's true, watch. He played for Manchester United. That's not going to happen. He's not going to jump from DC United to Manchester United. It's just not going to happen. What could happen is he could jump from DC United to Everton. It would still be a bit of a leap, but that's where he started his career. He's a boyhood Everton guy. And Everton's most recent game, they lost 4-0 to Minnesota United. They're not doing very well right now. And there is a very good chance Everton doesn't do well this year. Okay. They've lost some talented players. So I could very easily see if Everton has a bad year, they get relegated or something like that. Wayne Rooney comes in after just 1 year, maybe two. But I think if you're a DC United fan and you have hopes of Wayne Rooney staying, you need to also be an Everton fan, because I think that's ultimately where he's angling. His family is still in the UK. They have not come with him. Okay. I don't think he's going to stay away from his family for that long. So this to me seems like a very short-term thing. This to me seems like angling for an Everton, because he goes back to his boyhood club. The fans will love him. They would have just had a horrible season and they'd go, well, at least we feel good again. That to me is where I think this is headed. I hate to say it, but I think that's where it's headed. Okay. So it works for Rooney. It works for us in that maybe some casuals show up, but ultimately this is much more for Rooney. I love the deal for Rooney and much less for DC United. That's just how I feel about it.
I would just say if they want more casual to show up to the games, they need to get Apple to fast track the next season of Ted Lasso. That's the only reason I give a fuck. Although the trailer for that damn Welcome to Wrexham show with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
Yep.
I'm going to watch that.
I'm going to watch it too.
And I think that's going to get me excited. I think it's going to get me a little excited. Look, I bought the Formula One hoodie last year, even though I kind of dabbled in Formula One for years before that because I like auto racing. I bought FIFA after watching the last season of Ted Lasso.
Okay.
So maybe Wrexham will get me to buy a kit. Is that what they call them?
Kit. Yes, that's right.
Buy a kit. We'll see. But it ain't going to be Wayne Rooney. That'll move the needle.
Fair enough. Now, Rooney has made a couple moves already. So Miguel Berry, who is a forward from Columbus, got traded over here. And Ravel Morrison, who was a United youth product, Manchester United youth product, and very, very talented, just didn't live up to the billing, signed here recently as well. 29 years old, can still, at the MLS level, Ravel Morrison can have a very, very successful time at DC. And we do have an all-star in striker, Taxi Fontas. So, like, there is some hope that the attack can end up being really good for DC United. I'm just not hopeful Wayne Rooney's going to stay for an extended period of time. I think 1 to 2 years, absolute tops. And then we're right back to looking for a coach. Rest in peace, Hernan Losada's coaching career here in DC. I miss that guy so much. I loved him. And I'm willing to fight DC United fans that said, oh, no, the players didn't like him. They wanted to have fun. They did on national TV against the Philadelphia Union, losing 7-0. That was a blast for all of us, including them. All right.
Is Freddie Adu still playing?
I don't know. I don't even know where. If you told me you could give me $1 million to guess the continent Freddie Adu were on, I couldn't do it. Like, I literally, I have no idea where that guy is. No clue. Legitimately no clue. While you look that up, we're going to jump over to the comment mailbag from our last episode 3 weeks ago. Once again, we were fighting fires and trying to save Europe from burning. So let's begin with Spencer Brudig, former host on the show. Great episode as always. KDot beard, period. That was its own sentence. Brad Beal is great, but not worth that money for me. However, Wizards need to take what they can get. Plot twist, they trade him to the Nets for Kevin Durant. Go Kings. To which Tony, shout out Tony as always, replies, Wizards will always be just another team until they get a big three. I agree with Tony. We need a big three. Every team needs a big three at this point. That's just how it goes. What is that face? Go ahead.
I thought big threes are out.
No, big threes are still in. We just don't have one.
Who just won the championship?
Listen, big threes are still it. The Warriors are just an exception to the rule. They're not.
Who won the championship before that?
Who did win the championship before?
Milwaukee.
Oh, right.
Big three, what?
No, listen, but that was a fluke because the
Nets.
Hold on. No. The Nets literally would have smoked them. Would have absolutely smoked them. But Harden gets hurt.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Kyrie gets hurt.
Okay.
Durant on his own almost. No, listen.
What are you talking about?
They just happen to have a nice little path.
Big three? Is this 2008? The fuck are we talking about?
You still need a big three. I'm gonna.
No, you do not.
Tony, I just loved your comment. You're correct.
What?
You're correct.
What are you talking about?
You need a big three. All right, fine. Spence, loved your comment as well. Let's move on because Tony has another comment. We'll address that big three thing after the pod. This is more for you, KDot. What makes?
Hang on. We ain't getting off this. No, fuck you.
Let's get into it. Go ahead.
When's the last big three that won a championship?
Miami Heat. I didn't think about it too hard. That's like 15 years ago. I'm sure it's happened.
2013? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's not 2013.
All right, since 2013, San Antonio Spurs, big three?
Yeah. Parker, Ginobili, Duncan. Are you kidding me?
The 2014 San Antonio Spurs?
14. They had Kawhi.
Big three. Name them.
They had Kawhi.
I'm not so... Okay, name the big three, Amit.
Kawhi, Ginobili.
Fuck out. You said Ginobili's name in 2015. Next, Golden State. Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Golden State.
Okay. Hold on. Golden State, yes. They have Draymond, Clay, and Steph. Come on. You're not calling that a big three?
No.
You're not calling that a big three?
Not in the same sense of what we talk about when it comes to big threes.
Oh, so
these guys are...
So we have whoa.
No, a big three means acquiring a big three. That was the entire thing of a big three. You have to... All these teams we're talking about built these teams from nothing. The Golden State Warriors did not acquire anybody. Those are all guys that they drafted, and it made sense. The only piece that they added was KD.
Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, Manu, was known as one of the big three.
In what year?
Oh, like the whole time.
Bullshit!
The whole time, dude. The whole time. He was a Hall of Famer.
Get the fuck out of here. I don't know. We got talking about big threes. The other big three that's trying to exist right now, which is Brooklyn, we've seen how that goes. Because one of the big three get hurt because they're all fucking old now.
Why are all these teams trying to acquire a third piece, for example? Because they all want a big three.
Right, but I'm saying that they do. There are GMs and teams that are still stuck in the way the NBA did things over the last decade prior. And there's, at the end of the day, you still have, like, I'm not looking at any of these teams that have been successful recently and looking at them and say they acquired their big three. The closest you might get is the Lakers when they went after Anthony Davis.
But a big three is still a big three. Like, whether you
not if you draft. No. Okay, so here's the thing. We all want three really good players on our team. It's different to what we're talking about with the big three. The big three is what the Celtics did.
I would call it a big three. I would call the Warriors a big three. All right, you know what? We'll talk to Spencer about this and some other Warriors fans. We'll get them to chime in.
Spencer didn't say big three, did he?
No.
Tony said it.
That wasn't even his comment. Yeah, Tony said big three.
Big fucking three. Yeah, it's the name of a league that Ice Cube runs.
I got a big comment from Tony. All right, ready? What makes The Boys the wildest show on TV? The guy jumping in and out other humans' genitals. What sports did you guys play growing up? And KDot, what's that artwork behind you?
Number one, he answered his own question with the Boys situation. Have you watched many shows with people jumping out of exploding genitals? I don't think so. Sports growing up. In high school, I made the football team every year, but didn't show up to practice because I had asthma. So I didn't really play.
Would
but
you
growing
run
up,
out of air on your way to practice? How would that
no,
work?
it was a liability concern. I never had the paperwork and everything filled out properly. But then there's
DCPS paperwork, of course.
The final 2 years of high school. I can't get into detail why, but I couldn't. I physically, from a legal standpoint, I could not play my final 2 years of high school. I couldn't. It's not that I couldn't play for a legal standpoint. I can't address why I couldn't play because that is from a legal standpoint.
I should have gone first because that's got way more impact to it than whatever I'm about to say, which is in high school, I played tennis, I ran track, and I played soccer. I still play soccer. Nursing a knee injury right now. But Tony, to answer your question, I'm mainly a soccer player.
I played football and basketball after school every day.
Oh, yeah, I did too. I just, two-hand touch football, pretty quick out there.
Debate's sort of a sport. I debated 4 years high school.
Yeah, we're going to move on.
ROTC?
Ref the district. Nice job, boys. Hey, thank you, Ref the district.
Oh, hey, well, the
Shout out
artwork,
to you
I have
guys.
no idea. My girlfriend fakes like she's cultured.
Okay, so Tony, we don't know. That's just the truth. KDot will get on it, though. You will, right, KDot? All right, so Ref the
Big
district.
three.
Nice job, boys. All right, thank you, Ref the district. Shout out Ref the district. They've got a
Yay.
great DC sports podcast as well. And KDot had referenced them earlier. We had him on for an episode. And let's move on to Earl Bruce. Doug Williams led Tampa to an NFC championship game. That is a fact. That is true. We did not mention that. I think we were talking about it in last week's comment mailbag because the comment mailbag for the episode prior would have been the one with Ref the District. Trev had mentioned Doug Williams and how this is similar to Doug Williams or whatever with Carson Wentz coming over.
I think Carson Wentz, Doug Williams, I still don't understand the comparison.
You know, it's been a while. And when you're fighting fires, things get put into perspective.
Yeah, I remember because here's the thing. I think if I'm not mistaken, this is a follow-up comment to a comment that didn't make any fucking sense. So
there are a couple of those from Trev.
Which appreciate
Taylor
you
Corn's
watching,
a
but
really good number 2.
maybe you should either really text, just go stream of conscious, and maybe we'll be able to pick up on some things. But right now, I don't quite understand.
Fine. We'll move on. We'll move on to the end of the show. This is District Divided, a DC sports podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We are officially back on Spotify, Apple, etc. It's been so long since I've uploaded. I've just been lazy about it. I'm just going to be honest. But we're back on there. And so I hope you're enjoying it on that platform. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Also, just like it on or give 5 stars on a podcast platform. We would greatly appreciate that as well. It helps with the algorithms across the board. And we just appreciate you guys for listening and sticking with us. I am Amit. That is KDot. We will see you next Friday. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week.
Peace.
All right. So the big 3,
I
think, can be drafted. I don't think it needs to be acquired.
It's just getting good players.
Yes, that's all it is. I agree.
The big 3 has a connotation to it. God damn it.
I'm checking. What makes a big?
It was what Miami did. It's what Boston did.
3.
It's what Brooklyn tried to do. You might be able to give the Cavaliers team because they went and got Kevin Love. Yeah, I give it. I even give the Cavaliers in 2017 it.
Oh God, now I'm just picking up. I Googled it. I'm an idiot. I forgot the big 3 is a league as well.
Yeah.
We're never going to get this.
No, I think the Cavaliers team, because what the Cavaliers had Kyrie, right? They
Big
drafted
talking
Andrew.
about. Okay, according to the shadowleague.com, a very well reputable website, Big 3 is talking about who your best 3 players are. In the case of the Warriors, their best 3 players, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
Every team has the best 3 players.
Yeah, but some are worthy of the name Big 3.
That is such fucking horseshit.
No,
the big 3 thing was what GMs were trying to do after the success of what the Celtics did with the Ray Allen, KG, Paul Pierce thing. That after you had that, you had all these other teams that were trying to team up to create these big threes. The last team that I'm going to give it to, like I said, Cleveland Cavaliers, when they had Kyrie, they traded Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, and then LeBron went back home. That's a big three. Three guys that weren't together before that decided we have to join forces in order to win.
I think you're wrong about that. I don't think they needed to be acquired from other teams. I think if you happen to draft them, good on you. Shout out Bob Myers. He did a great job with the Warriors. He got himself a big three. Do you think he looks at it and goes, I didn't have a big three? I've never had a big three.
But I don't think that. All right, but here's the thing. We're talking about the context of that comment that was made on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we need a big
three. It's a Booger McFarland level statement to say.
What are you talking about?
We need three good players on a team.
No,
you need more points. You need more points
players
than the other team to win. What are you saying?
What he's saying?
There's nothing being said.
Talent. No, yes, there is. There is. We have Brad. Porzingis is very, very shaky in terms of staying on the floor. But if you can acquire another really good guy, then you would have a big three. And it's acquired. It fits your definition of it. You're just saying you don't think it's going to work. That's it. That's what we're talking about here.
I don't think what's going to work.
A big three here in DC.
I don't think
because you don't think it works anywhere anymore.
I don't think it works. No, I think you have to homegrow your talent. You have to homegrow your talent. I think that the way, to me, the person that probably, and I said this before I was doing Dish Divided, when I was doing ASOS like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Right. The thing that I thought was probably the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Influential thing to happen in the NBA in a very, very long time. Consequential thing to happen in the NBA in a very, very long time was Giannis staying in Milwaukee. I still think that that's going to be a point in time that we all look to and realize, holy shit, something changed. Before that time, before Giannis re-signs, everybody was looking to put together what I considered their big three. Who's going to team up like a fucking Avengers movie to go win a championship? Almost mercenary level, right? Giannis said, fuck that, I'm staying. And I think what we're going to see right now going forward, you got Bradley Beal stays in Washington, right? I don't see Ja Morant playing for any other team in Memphis. I don't see Trae Young playing for any other team in Atlanta. I don't see these guys leaving their situations. The more that they're going to say, fuck that, I'm building it here. I'm not leaving. I'm staying here.
That's what they want to do.
No, but I think you're gonna. But I think what you saw with Brad Beal accepting the
but there's also the counterpoint, right? Like Dame Lillard has stayed in Portland this whole time, and now there's nothingness there.
Again,
right? It goes both ways. And again, the Giannis ring was fucking impressive. It was abundantly impressive. But
to counter your Dame point, though, when Dame was doing that, right? What did everybody around say? Why the fuck is he doing that? Remember, Dame has been around for years. And the thing was that everybody questioned Dame. The same reason everybody questioned Giannis. If you want to go back and look at all the ESPN, all the stuff, when Giannis re-signed in Milwaukee.
But Giannis, how long has he been in the league when he re-signed? Like,
when Giannis re-signed
their first deal.
When Giannis re-signed in Milwaukee, everyone said collectively, what the fuck is he doing? That was the consensus.
We differ there. I will hear your point. Please continue.
The consensus on every one of the talking head shows, on all the radio, and all the rest of the shit was, why is he doing that? He's going to end up like Dame. That was what people were saying back then. And my thought always was, Giannis staying there, if he can win a championship, will change the league. And this league always runs in these ways. The NBA, more than any other league, is a trend league. The way that it works so trendy like.
I feel like every league is
every league to a certain degree.
Yeah,
but the way
wins, we'll go.
But the thing with like in football, in the NFL, real slow to get in and out of trends, unless you're talking about like
analytics
certain
for
schemes.
Sure. They're starting to.
Or unless you're talking about like schemes like Wildcat, right? Like Wildcat or run option, and that usually lasts about a half a season until defense starts scheming against it. And then whatever kind of fringe offense you kind of put together goes away real fast. They usually flash the pan sort of thing.
Fine.
The NFL is usually really baseball. They're still fighting about whether or not to use analytics, period, on some teams, right? So like there's They're very slow to look at what trends work as far as baseball.
Baseball is just a slow sport in general.
I get it.
It takes forever.
I don't know enough about hockey to say anything is trending in hockey. I'm saying basketball itself is a very, very copycat league. It's extremely
The NFL
copycat.
is described as a copycat league too. It's just some of them suck at it.
I would say
I think that's what happens.
I think we're from a semantic standpoint. I think the only thing I'm talking about is the time frame of these trends or copycat things.
I think we're talking about the same thing.
We are for the most part.
I think
bottom line, and I would say my piece. You say whatever the fuck you want to say. To me, the onus of what we were talking about when it came to big three in the general lexicon, as far as what we talk about, was what Boston and Miami and other teams have tried to do over the last 10 to 15 years, which is try to acquire guys from across the league. It's where we always talk about the meetings of the dudes that are on these. They go on trips together and they're all plotting. And, hey, we're all going to meet here. We're going to meet there. Everybody talked about putting together the big three because there was success with that for a period of time.
Okay, I want to be very, very honest with you. I tuned out about a minute ago because I'm now stuck on the artwork.
Jesus Christ! All
What
right,
even?
what?
What? Like, can we pan to it? Can we?
Nah, I gotta stand up. I'll next time I'm here, I'll do it.
Okay, I'm looking.
Or here,
to
I'll
it.
send you a photo, and you can enter it here or put it at the end of the pot.
It could be the thumbnail. It should not be the thumbnail.
Should
I'm
not
just
be the
letting you
thumbnail.
know.
It's
But
weird shit.
it's
It's
getting creative over here because all I see are the lips.
I think it's Indian.
Describe it to us.
There's a dot.
Mother of God.
She's wearing some sort of headpiece. Got full lips. It's a lady with her eyes closed with a dot in her forehead.
Okay, I'm looking forward to the photo.
I don't know what else kind of art it is. I don't think it's anything. I think she probably got it from Pottery Barn or some shit. White people think it's culture.
So this is your girlfriend's piece.
Yeah, I'm at her place.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to stay in DC. She's out of town. I get plus airport and all that kind of shit. I wasn't going to go back.
Oh, right. Okay.
See, in Baltimore, I got pictures of musicians and instruments and stuff, which are sort of poser stuff. I don't play any instruments, but I know a lot more about it than just. I don't understand. She's got a lot of stuff from like all over the world. I know she's worldly. She's been in a lot of places. She doesn't remember them. Like I asked her about it. She's like, yeah, but I passed out. It was just something. I'm like, okay.
Damn, you're just flaming. You're flaming Devin.
No, I mean she's cultured to a certain degree. She's experienced and seen a lot. Whether or not all these, I don't think these pieces are from her travels though.
Okay. Fair. So, like you said, probably Pottery Barn or something like that. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that photo.
Yeah, I'm also like, what the fuck is that?
Tony, I just hung up some artwork over here. I got it blurred right now. But what I'll do is I will turn this desk so that you can see it. And then we can talk about that as well. Looking forward to it. It's actually quite nice. I'm just going to describe the blurred image to you guys. Looks like it came from a vineyard. There's some branches. It looks like grapes. Is that I think it's a blueberry.
Where'd you get it from?
Estate sale. Check that out.
So you got a dead guy's thing in your house?
What's up? Oh,
You got a dead guy's piece of artwork in you?
Yep. Not gonna lie, he had good taste. Very least, tell you that much. I quite like it. I didn't think I would, but I was drawn to it. To it, KDot.
Actually, looking around here, the artwork she has on like those walls, I'm more interested in this.
Oh, now you got
like it's all DC. It's all DC centric stuff. So she's got like neighborhood photos over there, Town thing. She's got what every young 20 white person had at some point, which is a Reefer Madness poster.
Oh, yep. I haven't seen those.
Yeah, I mean, at least she'll have Live, Laugh, Love somewhere here. She doesn't do that. I'm proud of her for that.
Oh my God, that reminds me of watching Eat, Pray, Love in theaters. My mom really wanted to see it, and I was like, you know what? Sure, fine.
You saw Eat, Pray, Love in a theater,
dude. I still don't know what the point of that movie was. It felt like that was daylight robbery of time because nothing happened. This woman was trying to find herself all over the world, runs over Javier Bardem and like they get together. It's literally the movie. That's it. That's it. It was a horrible movie.
Yeah, I ain't doing that one. I've never done that one. I'm not going to do that one.
And don't. If we got into a really brutal argument,
hey, Mike O'Malley's in it.
You. Watch it. You know what? Fuck it. Just watch it.
I'm not going to, but Mike O'Malley's in it. I was like, he was the host on Guts on Nickelodeon as a kid. This will get pretty good cast.
Oh man, yeah,
Julia
the cast
Roberts,
is good. The
Harvey
movie's
Keitel,
bad.
James Franco, who's canceled now. Richard Jenkins.
Yeah. No, I mean the cast was good. The movie sucked. The movie was just circular. It was like, and some people were like, "Oh, it represents life. You go through, waves of stuff."
So
like,
it's
shut
a
up.
2000s rom-com.
Yeah, come on. It wasn't even funny. The whole thing sucked.
All right, so I'm thinking it's a biographical romantic drama. Fuck that.
Who describes a movie as that?
It ain't a rom-com. It is
Certainly
a
not.
biographical romantic drama. I'm out.
It's a bro movie. Jesus.
Okay.
It was awful.
Viola Davis is in it too? I skipped over her name.
Again, the cast is good. It's also been years now at this point. When did it come out?
2010.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like I'll do an occasional Nancy Meyers movie and hate it while I'm watching it for the most part, but I don't hate all of Nancy Meyers movies. She has some good ones. I'm still a sucker for the 90s Parent Trap. Lindsay Lohan was shit.
Oh yeah. Yo, Lindsay Lohan was like on top of the world for a while.
Mm-hmm. Something's Got to Give is a really good movie.
Something's Got to Give is a very good movie.
I don't like The Holiday. I don't like It's Complicated. I did not at all like The Intern.
The rom-com I really liked growing up was Notting Hill. I really enjoyed that.
Hugh
the one with Hugh Grant? Yeah, Hugh Grant. And you know what? It was Julia Roberts, wasn't it?
Yeah. Notting Hill's definitely,
yeah, there was a good one.
That's why Richard Curtis.
Hugh Grant's roommate was hysterical in that movie. That guy stole the show.
So the movie that I love as far as rom-coms that it's almost people make fun of you for liking nowadays, and I don't care. I'm a dumb American that likes this movie. I know Brits hate it. I'm a Love Actually guy. I am absolutely a Love Actually guy. I understand people's issues with it. I understand it's really fucking stupid. I was
thinking about Love Actually today. Actually, I don't know why, but I was. Yeah.
I watch it every holiday season. I watch it.
I wouldn't go that far, but I've seen it before. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Plus,
it.
there were certain movies that if I knew never mind. Can't say that.
Okay, last question before we go. Is there a movie you can watch, timeless, I guess is the definition of it, that you could just watch over and over and over again and not get sick of it?
We talk about this all the time. Rewatchability.
Rewatchability. Yeah, let's go with that.
Goodfellas is my number one.
Goodfellas, your number one. I don't
it's
think
my
I have
favorite
one.
movie of all time, and I'll never get tired of rewatching it.
I don't think I have one.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's where I get stuck is because people will ask me and I'm like, I don't know, but everyone else seems to have an answer to it. I think any movie I watch enough, I will eventually get sick of. I just can't.
I can tell you in the last 20 years, I have seen The Departed so many fucking times. I have no idea. Like I've taken I haven't watched it, I'd say in 6 months. This might be the longest time frame since that movie's come out that I haven't watched The Departed.
Damn. I'm trying maybe The Usual Suspects, just because I think there would be a lot of little details that maybe I missed.
Yeah, The Usual Suspects was like 2 or 3 times and I'm done. I still watch it, but I'm out.
It's heavy. It's good.
It's great. But once the reveal, I like the behind the scenes stories about Usual Suspects make it so much more fun to rewatch. So you know that they're when they're doing the lineup.
Yep.
And they keep fighting. It's because in real life, Benicio del Toro keeps farting in the room, and they can't breathe. So when you know that, and then you watch it, and you see them trying to cover their noses,
that is for that reason.
It's fucking hilarious to me. Or when he's doing the accent, and he was just doing it, and everyone was like, can't understand what the fuck he's saying. They had so much fun just making the movie. But all Kevin Spacey movies, it gets a little harder.
Yeah. That's also. Oh shit! I didn't even think about it. He's canceled. Can't do it.
No, I still watch guys that are canceled. I just won't necessarily support the new shit. I will say this: there's a genre movie that I have found myself realizing that I can rewatch them so many times. I just noticed this a few months ago. Movies about financial institutions or financial crises.
Oh my god, The Big Short. I can rewatch it.
The Big Short I've watched.
Actually,
The Big Short,
that might be my answer to it.
I watch it so. Have you seen Margin Call?
No.
Have you ever heard of Margin Call?
No.
Watch Margin Call.
Okay. I'll watch Margin Call.
You have to watch Margin Call.
I just want to be able to answer that question confidently. So I want to find something that I
The
can
Big Short
rewatch,
might be the
no
move.
problem.
For some reason,
Okay,
Big Short is so good. Big Short is so easily rewatchable. But then, like, I also go like Boiler Room, Wall Street, are just easy to rewatch. But Margin Call has taken the place of Big Short for the most rewatchable movie for me for our financial crisis.
I'm definitely sold. I'm going to watch Margin Call. And on that note, I'm going to go watch Margin Call right now. See you guys next week.